Imagine a world where the US dollar no longer stands as the cornerstone of global trade and finance. For decades, the dollar has been a symbol of American economic dominance, shaping international policies, enforcing economic sanctions, and serving as the linchpin of global financial systems. This dominance has granted the United States unparalleled influence, enabling it to project power across the globe. But today, this supremacy faces a formidable challenge from BRICS, a coalition of rising powers including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These nations, united by a shared vision, are pushing an ambitious agenda to reduce global dependence on the US dollar through a strategy called de-dollarization. Recent geopolitical shifts, particularly during Donald Trump's presidency, have accelerated this movement, setting the stage for a potential seismic shift in global power dynamics. Donald Trump's presidency marked a turning point in US foreign economic policy. His America First agenda sought to protect American interests, but often took a hardline approach that sent shockwaves through the international community. His administration's aggressive trade policies, including threats of 100% tariffs on BRICS nations, signaled a clear intent to safeguard US economic supremacy. Yet, rather than deterring BRICS, these moves acted as a catalyst, strengthening their resolve to challenge the dollar's dominance. What began as economic cooperation among BRICS nations has evolved into a calculated effort to reshape the global financial order. This economic chess match is now being closely watched, as its outcome could redefine the future of global power. For decades, the US dollar has served as the global reserve currency, facilitating trade and international financial transactions. Its dominance has allowed the United States to influence global trade policies and impose sanctions with far-reaching effects. However, this centralization has also created vulnerabilities, particularly for emerging economies heavily reliant on the dollar for trade and financial stability. Recognizing this imbalance, BRICS nations have proactively developed strategies to diminish the dollar's supremacy. These initiatives include establishing alternative financial institutions, fostering bilateral trade in local currencies, and investing in cutting-edge digital innovations. By doing so, BRICS aims to empower their own economies while creating a more balanced and inclusive global financial system. Donald Trump's hardline stance toward BRICS, particularly his proposed 100% tariffs, marked a pivotal moment in this economic showdown. His administration viewed the de-dollarization efforts of BRICS as a direct threat to US hegemony. However, critics argue that the confrontational tactics of Trump's administration underestimated the determination of BRICS nations. Instead of weakening their resolve, the US's aggressive policies only deepened the economic and political ties within the bloc, accelerating their efforts to reduce dependence on the dollar. One of BRICS's most significant moves in this regard has been the establishment of the New Development Bank, NDB. Founded in 2014, the NDB focuses on funding infrastructure and sustainable development projects within BRICS countries. What sets the NDB apart from traditional financial institutions like the IMF or World Bank is its emphasis on local currency funding. By financing projects in local currencies, such as the Indian rupee or Brazilian real, the NDB significantly reduces member nations' dependency on the US dollar. This approach not only shields member countries from currency exchange risks, but also promotes economic sovereignty, allowing them to manage financial transactions independently of the dollar-dominated system. In addition to the NDB, BRICS nations are actively pursuing bilateral trade agreements that bypass the dollar. For instance, China and Russia now conduct a significant portion of their trade in yuan and rubles, reducing their exposure to dollar-related volatility and US sanctions. Similarly, India and Brazil have explored trade mechanisms where transactions are settled in their respective local currencies. These agreements not only lower transaction costs, but also strengthen economic ties among BRICS nations. By trading in local currencies, BRICS countries are directly challenging the dollar's dominance, paving the way for a more multipolar financial system. The push for digital currency innovations is another critical component of BRICS's de-dollarization strategy. China's launch of the digital yuan represents a bold step toward decentralizing global finance. By leveraging blockchain technology, BRICS nations aim to bypass traditional Western financial systems, offering emerging economies an alternative to dollar-based transactions. The digital yuan, in particular, has the potential to revolutionize cross-border trade, enabling faster, more secure transactions while reducing reliance on the dollar. Despite these advancements, BRICS faces significant challenges. The alliance must navigate US pressure, including tariffs, sanctions, and diplomatic maneuvers aimed at preserving the dollar's supremacy. Internal differences among BRICS nations also pose hurdles. With diverse economies and priorities, maintaining unity within the bloc requires careful balancing. For instance, India's strong trade ties with the US create a delicate dynamic that could complicate BRICS's efforts to present a united front. China, as the largest economy within BRICS, has emerged as the de facto leader of the group. Leveraging its economic strength and strategic vision, China has spearheaded several initiatives to strengthen BRICS's financial independence. In response to US tariffs, China adopted a measured approach, emphasizing long-term planning and multilateral collaboration. Initiatives such as increased funding for BRICS projects, accelerated trade agreements, investment in digital finance, and the expansion of the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, highlight China's commitment to deepening economic ties within BRICS and beyond. The Belt and Road Initiative, in particular, has become a cornerstone of China's global strategy. By developing infrastructure, trade routes, and partnerships across Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Europe, the BRI enhances China's economic reach while strengthening its ties with emerging markets, including BRICS nations. This initiative facilitates smoother trade flows, greater connectivity, and deeper collaboration, further cementing China's role as a key driver of global development. The potential creation of a BRICS common currency adds another layer to this evolving dynamic. Although still in its early stages, discussions around a shared currency underscore BRICS's commitment to reducing dollar dependence. A common currency could streamline trade among member nations, strengthen their collective bargaining power, and further challenge the dollar's global dominance. As the global economic landscape continues to shift, the question remains: are we witnessing the decline of the US dollar's reign? The efforts of BRICS nations to de-dollarize, coupled with the US's responses, suggest a world moving toward greater financial decentralization. While the dollar remains dominant, the concerted actions of emerging economies indicate a growing desire for a more balanced and inclusive global financial system. The outcome of this economic chess match will have profound implications not just for BRICS and the US, but for the entire world. Will this be the dawn of a new global financial order? The stakes have never been higher, and the world watches as history unfolds. As the world watches this unfolding economic chess game, one thing is clear: the balance of global power is at a tipping point. So, what do you think? Is the global financial order on the brink of transformation, or will the US dollar's dominance prevail? Comment below with your thoughts. We'd love to hear your perspective.